Federal judge has ruled that the mass firing of probationary employees was likely illegal, stopping OPM, stating it does not have any authority whatsoever under any statute in the history of the universe to hire or fire employees but its own. So we want to go live to Scripps News National correspondent Serena Marshall, who is in Washington, D.C. And Serena, this is a win for unions.
Yeah, it's a small win, Bree, for unions. And that statement from the judge was really quite targeted, quite something to actually read. But it was interesting, too, within this lawsuit, because the federal government didn't actually disagree. They said, you're right, OPM doesn't have the authority, but they didn't do anything. They didn't actually do the firing. They simply instructed the agencies to do the firing. Now, the ruling from the judge in this hearing instructed OPM to rescind the memo, but it's unclear whether or not that means those employees that are represented by the unions that brought the lawsuit are going to be able to get their jobs back. And that's because the judge didn't have the authority to force the rehiring. He also did not issue a ruling saying the layoffs need to be stopped. And part of the reason for that is because this wasn't a ruling on necessarily the merits. It was just a preliminary hearing. They have more coming in March for that specific court case. But that's just one of the multitude of cases that have been brought against the Trump administration for these mass firings. In a second case, one out of district court in D.C., that judge ruled, in fact, that 4 Trump administration officials, as part of DOJ, must testify under oath about the activities they have taken as part of the Department of Government Efficiency. It's really hoping to kind of peel back the curtain on what they've been doing, what programs they've accessed, what they have personnel records they've used. And so that'll be interesting because that could have a ripple effect on these other court cases, especially as the layoffs do continue. You mentioned NOAA, meteorologists, researchers, already seeing the staff impacts, not being able to send up a weather balloon at a location in Alaska that gives information about weather patterns to come, not just here at U.S., but globally, because of staffing shortages that are continuing from these mass layoffs. Bree?
Well, Serena, a rare earths mineral deal between the U.S. and Ukraine, that could be signed at the White House today. I know this is a long-sought deal that'll closely tie the two countries together for years to come, hopefully leading to that ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Can you walk us through what will actually happen today with that?
Yeah, well, that is the goal of the meeting at the White House between the president and Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. He's hoping to come in and get this rare minerals earth deal signed and get some security guarantees from the United States as they move to this ceasefire deal with Russia. The U.S. and European allies have said they don't have the resources to push back on Russian aggression without the backing of the U.S. The president has said he wants Europe to stand up against any aggression themselves, take on this burden themselves. But this rare earth deal would tie the nations together. It would have American companies doing the minings. Some of the details that we've seen as this deal, it would create a reconstruction investment fund and possibly even have the two governments share profits. It's not exactly clear because the details of the deal haven't been shared widely, but keep in mind what rare earth minerals are. Lithium-ion batteries, your cell phone, electric vehicles, weapons, they use these minerals, and that is why the United States wants access to them, as right now China produces the most rare earth minerals, and that's where we import many of them from. The president saying that this deal would help pay the U.S. back for the support we've given Ukraine. The President Zelensky really hoping, though, to get those security guarantees as part of this.